Hello, all you amazing women. Okay, I have finally found the time to do the video on perspective that we talked about way back on March 22nd. So I love this job because it is so very forgiving, and that's why I can do it, is because eventually I get it all done and I can fit it into my life. So the main reason why I wanted to share this video is that with several of my personal recruits, I keep hearing myself saying the same things over and over, and it's many lessons that I've learned from being in the business for over a year, and I just thought, you know what, this is really important stuff that our whole team needs to hear. So I decided to do like a mini sort of webinar to share my heart with all of you guys. So in this business, it is really important to have a lot of the right practices, to be doing the right things in your business, focusing your energies on revenue producing tasks and all of that sort of thing. But really what the key to success is in your thinking. So you must have the right attitude, because you can be doing all of the right stuff, but if you don't have the right attitude, then it can be detrimental to your success. So I'm going to hit on a couple of points about your shift of paradigm. One of the things is that in this business, it can kind of be a crapshoot sometimes. You can have a hostess that you're dealing with that you hostess coach to the hilt and do everything that you know to do, and you show up and there's two people there and you're like, what just happened? And there's other parties where the hostess might really be unresponsive to your coaching. She might not even reply or call you back or have any contact with you prior to the party, and then rock out $1,000 party and have all kinds of outside orders and whatever. That's the girl you want on your team. But it does happen. I remember going to a party a couple months ago, and the night before I finally texted her and I was like, should I come to your house tomorrow? Are we on? And she was like, yeah, I'm totally looking forward to it. Sorry, I've been really busy. And I show up and there's 8 people there, and it was like a $750 party. So you just never really know. But in those moments, that's when it's really important to have the right attitude and the right paradigm. So I'm going to be referring to my notes several times. Listen to your self-talk. The way that I like to look at this business is that it's a garden. So you start with like a plot of land, an empty plot of land, and a lot of energy and enthusiasm and love for a product and belief in the mission that we have. Some of our plots are a little bit harder ground than others. I live in Arizona, which is ironic because the ground is hard and it's like hard clay. And it was really difficult getting going here in this market. But other people start with a plot of really fertile ground. And the most important thing is that you're planting seeds in your plot and watering those seeds and giving those seeds sunshine and being consistent with doing all of that. And in the right season, those seeds are going to bloom. I planted a lot of seeds and plowed a lot of ground my first several months. And then once the seeds started blooming, let me tell you, my garden has taken off. So another way I like to think about our job is that it's kind of like a baby or a child, that in the infancy stages, it's going to take a lot of work. You know, you have to learn the ropes of this business, and you've got to spend some time training yourself, and everything's going to feel new and overwhelming, and you might be sleep deprived a little bit, you know, but eventually you get the hang of it and it becomes natural and it becomes second nature, and you learn how to fit it into your life, and it starts feeding itself and, you know, wiping its own butt, whatever. But the business is all about ebbs and flows and seasons. So there's months where my team is exploding and I can barely keep up with that. And there's other months where my parties are keeping me busy, and usually they kind of don't both happen at the same time. You know, this last couple months my team has exploded and now my party calendar really needs some attention. And so you just learn to balance those and find kind of the right tension to keep yourself up. But every single sale matters. Every single customer matters. Even if it's not even a sale yet, every time you introduce Norwex to somebody, that's important. One of the things that you'll see is maybe the only downside to a fast start, or when people come out the gate, because you're going to see it happen. There's girls who will qualify in 10 days or, 30 days, and that's really fast. But they can kind of tend to think, well, then when you have a party with 2 people, that it's not worth their time or it's not as important or whatever. And so I wanted to share several of my favorite stories to illustrate this point. So When I got started, I, went through my whole Frank list, and I was doing personal one-on-one demos. Hey, let me come clean your kitchen. And I would bring my stuff and bring a catalog and tell them about Norwex. And I did a lot of that more before I even got parties, because people were so unfamiliar that they had to find out what Norwex was. Then they had to fall in love with it and be willing to share it with other people. So I felt like I had kind of beated my Frank list to death. Beated? That's not even a word. Beat my Frank list to death. And I decided one last ditch effort in May to do a mystery hostess Facebook party and kind of invite the people that up until that point, they weren't my first people to contact because I didn't really know them as well, or for whatever the reason. So I had a small group, about 40 people, and I did everything, fabulous. And 8 people showed up, which isn't bad. It's not great for a Facebook party, but it's not bad. And 1 person bought a basic set. That's right. The sales for the entire party were $31.99, subtotal A. It was an epic failure. But that one person, so I thought at the time, that one person bought for the next 3 months. And I finally started telling her, you should really have a party. Like, she would post on Facebook that she was scaring the FedEx man because she was stalking him and would get so excited when he came to her door and all this stuff, and, posting her own before and afters. And she was like, no. Well, about the 3rd time, I don't know what it was that clicked within her, but she realized that she needed to make a way for people to hear about Norwex. So she had been getting a lot of response on the Facebook posts that she would do and whatnot. So she has a party, and she did a $1,000 party. It was a Facebook party because she's long distance and lives in Texas and I'm in Arizona. And that was the moment after, at this point, 5 months of struggle, that I was like, she was the one I had been waiting for, and now looking back, I can trace, I don't know, probably close to 50 team members now at this point to that one basic set. It led to a whole string of parties, really good parties, lots and lots of team members who are now building teams. And so you'll hear me talk about her a lot. And she's not ready to join. She wants to, but life just isn't there yet for her. And one day she will. And let me tell you, I am going to post a picture of me doing the ugly cry when she does join us, because she's an amazing girl. My next favorite story is 2 hostesses that I had during kind of a harder month. I was had several parties, but they all felt like they were pulling teeth, and that happens. And for some reason, it's more rare than it is common, but this happened to happen all in 1 month. And so I just felt like I was working really, really hard for not a whole lot of sales. And I feel like that's a dangerous place to get into in this business, because we don't make an hourly rate. And there might be seasons where you feel like you're working extra hard and not making as much money. And then there's going to be seasons where you feel like, holy cow, I cannot believe I make this much money because this job is so fun and I would seriously do it for free. So these, within like a week or 2 of each other, I had 2 Facebook parties where the hostesses did not show up for their party at all. And I had never had that happen before. And at that point, I had pretty good success with my business. And, but I just proceeded as usual. I did the Facebook party, and I was in contact with the hostesses, trying to text them and call them and get them on the phone or whatever. And, both of them were just really honest mistakes, and they both are now on our team, which is amazing. So I'm glad that I didn't see it as a closed door or take it personally or whatever, because in the end, it all worked out fine, and both of them were really decent parties, and now they're both consultants spreading the mission of Norwex. My last favorite story is I went to a party, and there was 13 people there. It was a fairly large party for Arizona. And at the end, I sat down. The first girl that I sat down with, she just swang by. She promised her husband she wouldn't spend anything, stopped by after work, and she brought me a blank order form, but she really wanted to buy. She was really interested, and she was my grouchy face. You'll hear us talk about that. She was very skeptical. borderline combative, but at this point I was confident enough to handle her. And so anyways, we had an exchange of information during the party. It was nothing dramatic, but you know, I knew that she was going to take a little extra work to educate. And so she ended up spending $500 at that party. You could tell she was more affluent. And so, you know, when she was asking me questions and I was educating her, we just kept jotting stuff down, and she ended up buying for all of her kids and whatnot. And at that same party, there was a girl who bought a basic package and was totally on board. She's a clean eater and all of that. And so she bought a basic package and she booked a party on the calendar, date set, whatever. So, girl number one, $500 order girl, I never heard from her again. She wouldn't respond to any of my follow-up, nothing, and ended up being connected to another consultant somehow. That's a whole nother story that I won't even get into. Anyways, Basic Package Girl ended up hosting a party and found another friend that loved Norwex, and so it was a dual hostess party. Those are always fun because there was like 20 people there. It's one night and it's a double party. And it was almost $2,000 in sales. And I've had a whole string of parties now that all of them have been $1,000 to $2,000. And so at the time, it was really exciting to get a $500 order, right? You know, right? That's super fun. Basic Set, I was used to that, you know. But in the long run for my business, Basic Set Girl has become a friend, introduced me to a lot of friends. We now have a team member that's in her circle of friends. And that was a really, really important lesson to me, and where I learned that every single basic set matters. I have driven an hour to a party to sell one basic set to a girl. She was the only one that showed up, you know, and to me, it was just as important as the $500 order, because it's one more home using Norwex and eliminating chemicals and making life much easier and more fun. So those are some of my favorite stories. I want to share my personal story with you that, can you guys tell I'm in my car? This is crazy. This is 2 weeks later, and the only time I get is when I drop my kid off and I'm alone in the car. So here we are. Again, why I love this job. But I almost quit. At the beginning, the ground was so hard to plow, and you'll hear me talk about that a lot, because that is a really big deal to me, that I almost gave up. And Megan I reached out to her and I called her, and we are really dear friends, so that was natural to me. But we all go through those moments in our business, and it might not be so natural, because you might not know your sponsor as well as I know Megan, but I just want to encourage you to definitely reach out. Sometimes you just need somebody else to think it through. Sometimes you just need somebody else to give you an idea, to spark, brainstorm with you. Sometimes you just need some words of life spoken back into your veins and put some wind in your sails, and you're right back in it. We are not a pressure team. You will never get pressure from us. We just are here to support you and cheer you on, whether you want to be a discount buyer or a hobbyist, or do a party or two a month, or make it your career path like some of us have chosen to do. But we're never going to push you beyond what you desire. But we are here if you ever want to change your mind. This company is amazing and it allows us to be flexible. But one consultant that I remember in particular did a Facebook party as her launch, and the whole thing was sabotaged. There was some drama with some of the guests, and they really were vindictive and tried to ruin this girl's start. And she pushed through, and I just kept encouraging her. She's not my personal recruit, but I was involved in the situation, and she had an amazing sponsor. They're both amazing consultants, and I just shared my story with her, and I'm like, please don't give up. If you want to do this, you're already signed up, so let's just go for it hard for the first 90 days and see what happens. And now she's a consistent seller. I'm surprised she's not in the top, but it's really only because our team totals are insane lately, but she sells thousands of dollars every month, and almost as a team coordinator, she probably will be next month. And I just told her, I'm so proud that you pushed through and saw what was on the other side, and trusted us, in our experience to push through those moments. So you'll hear us talk a lot about the saying, comparison is the thief of joy, and that is I think more relevant to us as women, and in this industry maybe more than any other. We all have our different story, and you really have to define your own success. You know, we all have different goals in this business. And so if you are reaching your own goals, you know, your goals might be totally different than mine. And that's okay. That's totally amazing. That's what's great about Norwex. So be careful, you know, to compare yourself to other people, because you don't know what their life story is. You don't know what's going on behind, you know, closed doors in their life, or what else is going on. You know, some people really hit it on the fast track. Megan and I have both been fortunate enough. We work really hard. I'll tell you that. We work hard. But we both feel very blessed to have gotten as far as we have, as soon as we have. But, you know, that's God's plan. We both have kids with special needs. Megan has way crazier life. I mean, she's like truly amazing. But this is God's provision for us to pay for a lot of medical bills and different things that is unique to our situation. So I believe that with Norwex and with this business, you know, we welcome team members of all different ages and shapes and sizes and colors and backgrounds and socioeconomic statuses and all of that. It doesn't matter who you are. You can be successful. You're on the #1 team in the nation, and there's tons, you know, in the top 5 spots, we usually occupy about 3 or 4 of them, Team Antibac as a whole. So you know, we're fortunate enough to land on this team and to learn from the best. And so I believe that if you want it, you know, you can totally get it. So slow and steady wins the race. That's another thing that you'll always hear us say. And just hang in there during the difficult times and the good times. You know, sometimes the good times can be just as stressful. You know, it's overwhelming when your business grows and you go through a season of having to learn how to keep up with that and make it fit into your life again. Or when you've got the hang of parties and sales and hostess coaching and all that, and then people want to jump on board with you, and then you go through another growing season of, now I'm in leadership and I'm leading other people to do this. And so that's super fun. It's always really exciting. But just keep it at your own pace, what's right for your family and what's right for your fit. You know, the most important thing is that we have fun with this job. It is so much fun. So we don't want you to be overwhelmed. And if you're getting to that place, please reach out, because we're here to help you and to think through that with you and give you some creative ideas on how to help with that. Part of this business also that I want to address is perspective is huge, is you're going to hear no a lot. And that's just the nature of it, and it's okay. And it's not probably ever easy to hear, but the more you hear it, it does get easier. Sometimes depending on the person or whatever the situation, sometimes it's easier and sometimes it's really difficult. But the way that I like to see it is that my job is to offer this opportunity, whether it be the product or whether it be the opportunity of doing this. It's my job to offer it, and I'm doing my job if I'm offering it to every person. If I'm offering this product to every person, if I'm offering to do a party to every customer, and if I'm offering this opportunity to both customers and hostesses, and even people who haven't tried it. I've done that before. They didn't say yeah, but whatever. And it's all a learning process, and you get to, you know, do better. Actually, the better you are in this business, the more you're going to hear no, to be honest, because the more you're asking and doing the right practices, it's just a numbers game. You know, you ask 100 people, a handful of them are going to say yes, and it actually gets easier. You gain courage and bravery and strategy and wording and whatever to ask. So I feel like they're not saying no to me. They're actually saying no to themselves, because I offered them an amazing product and an amazing opportunity for an amazing company on an amazing team. I mean, it can't get better than that, right? And so if they say no, they're just not ready. It's simple as that. They're just not ready. Some people have to hear about Norwex up to 7 times before they're like, okay, what is this thing now? So-and-so is using it, and so-and-so is using it, and all these people are having parties, and you know, that they are just not as quick to jump on the train because they think it's a fad or whatever, and it takes maybe just the right person using it, or the right person hosting a party, or how many exposures they've had before they say yes. And so when you offer it and they say no, keep on your classy pants, you know, be gracious and just wait till they're ready, you know, offer it to them, wait for them to come around, because I promise you they will. I promise you. Some take longer than others, but they will. Let's see. I think I'm getting off track. One of my favorite stories is a girl who went to one of my parties earlier on, but she and my husband went to high school youth group together, so I've known her for a really long time. And so I knew she would love this. I also know that she's a very influential person in her life and the circles that she runs in. And so I asked her to do a party, and she was like, nope, I don't do parties. Just bam. And I was like, okay. But I understood, you know, because if she did a party for me and for Norwex, then it opens a whole can of worms for her, and she just made it a personal rule. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to fight with that. You know, I'm not going to try to convince you or push you past what you're ready for. And I've made kind of a reputation for myself to not be that pushy salesperson. I've heard that talked about at parties that I do, and to me that's the greatest compliment, because I don't consider myself to be a salesperson. I consider myself to be an educator, and when I find something that's amazing, I love to share it with others. And so 2 weeks later, she called me and she was like, so I guess I need to have a party. And I'm like, oh, really? Do tell. And she just had been talking about it for 2 weeks straight, and they had a family dinner. I think it was Father's Day or something, and her whole family was there, and she spread butter on the window. And yes, I've offered her to be a consultant, and she said no too. But you know, everybody raved about it, and her brother-in-law got in on that, and you know, we'll pull out some Windex and paper towel, and how does that work? And so they did the side by side. Like, I don't even have to like tell them to do this; they just did it. And so she had a $1,000 party, but her first response was a bam no. You know, some people are like, okay, call me later, I'll think about it, whatever. But she was a definite no. That was turned into a definite yes 2 weeks later. So another important area it's to have perspective on is team building. You know, when you're building a team, it can feel a little bit scary. Well, if they join my team, then don't all the sales go to them? And what about our mutual friends? And what about, you know, our mutual family members maybe? And the more the merrier. And that is truer than true in this business and with this product, because the more people talk about Norwex, you'll notice the third party that you have in a circle of friends, that hostess probably makes out better, because at the very first party you do, it's just you up there, maybe the hostess. By the third party, you have 3 or 4 or 5 people that are saying how amazing this stuff is, and the sales go way through the roof. So the more people we have, the more brand recognition we have, the better. I have personally chosen to be a very hands-on team builder. My first personal recruits, the first 30 to 60 days, I am very, very hands-on with them. And I've heard other team builders say that they might consider that working for free. And I feel like I couldn't spend my time in any better place than offering other women the tools to success that I've found in this business. So that's truly my heart. I never got into this business to make money. I never got into it to even really do parties or anything, but I'll tell you, it's a nice side benefit. But because it was never my motivation has always been to help people. And the more people I get to help, and the more people I get to turn Norwex into the blessing that it's been for me, the better. So we are generously rewarded for team building in product and shopping sprees and compensation. Our compensation plan is insane. It's insanely amazing. So I never feel like oh, you know, they join my team and then they get this whole customer base and all the party bookings go from there. You know, you get to find your own style and maybe split parties with them or whatever. I generally just do the pass off of the parties because I'm confident in myself to build my calendar back up. There's only been 2 seasons where I feel like it's kind of bit me in the butt. This being one of them, because I have, you know, had 10 people last month, but more than that before personally joined my team. And that just, when they're huge chunks like that at a time, it takes a little bit more focus and attention, but I'm fine. And I've been in the business longer, and I have a larger customer base to glean from. And I just always trust God to get me back in the game and build my business. So I will never withhold this opportunity from anybody. And it has grown so much more exponentially than I ever could have imagined. So next point, moving right along, pyramid scheme, right? Have you heard this yet? You're going to get accused of this. And silly people. Okay, first of all, a pyramid scheme is when there's no goods or services exchanged. So think Bernie Madoff, that whole like a Ponzi scheme. Okay, this is not that, not even close. But people maybe have experience with something previous like multi-level marketing. We also are not multi-level marketing. If you hear about that, there's a multi-level marketing, think Amway, or there's the newest, latest and greatest ones are oil companies, which I use them, I love them. But to do that from a business aspect, you make your residual income from your customer base. We do not do that. We can be a one transaction. You know, they can buy an EnviroCloth and never talk to us again if they choose. We hope that's not the case, and we do our best to make that not the case. But we're about building relationships, and our residual incomes from people who choose to do this as a business along with us, and who choose, whether it be again as a hobbyist or discount buyer or spreading the word big time. But our customer base is not our residual income. They're just our commission. So that's the difference between the direct sales and multi-level marketing. But our business model, I love it. It's amazing because we generously reward our hostesses and our consultants for spreading the mission of Norwex, for spreading the product. Word of mouth is the most effective marketing that you can do, and Norwex sees that, and that's where they choose to spend their marketing budget. So, you know, you get this product in people's hands and it explodes and it spreads like wildfire, and because they know that, that's where they spend their marketing and advertising. So, I love it. It's not unlike any other product that you buy at any store or restaurant or whatever. When you buy a product, a portion of that price that you pay goes to the employees of the company, it goes to the brick and mortar of the company, it goes to the upper level management of the company. So if you want to call that a pyramid, I guess, another word for it is an org chart. Remember that from college? The people at the top tend to make more than the person checking you out at Target. It's just the way it is. The most amazing thing about where you're at and where I'm at is that we get to be the people who can go to the top, right? So in our business, if you want a promotion, woohoo, you work hard and you go get it. It's not up to anybody else but yourself. You don't have a boss or a guy behind a desk in a suit and tie making that decision for you. You know, we get to do that. There is no ceiling. The sky is the limit with us, and we are in the best place to do it at the best time to do it, because although Norwex has been around for 20 years, in the United States it's fairly new, like less than 10 years, and it is exploding. So we are at the ground level, and almost every leadership meeting that we have and conference call we have, it's like we're setting records, like month after month setting records, and it's really exciting to get in at this time for that. The last thing that I want to tell you about is you're going to hear it's expensive. You know, that's probably from somebody who's never tried it. But some people get sticker shock because they don't know what Norwex is. It's not just these cloths. It's not just cloths, okay? It's magic. We sell magic, right? Life-changing magic. So our job is to educate about the product that we have. That's why when I do a Facebook party, I will never post the catalog prior to my videos, because my videos are instructional and they're informational, and I want people to know what they have in their hands when they get it before they spend the money. And not everybody... Whew, I just thought of this. This isn't even in my notes. Not everybody is going to have the same objections as you have. So if you're a person that's on a budget, or if you're, you know, a stay-at-home mom like a lot of us are, and not, you know, maybe single income or whatever, that's not everybody. Do you remember the girl who dropped $500 like it wasn't no thing at my party? So don't feel like you have to defend the cost of Norwex or whatever. You know, have that conversation if that's an objection you receive, but don't project your things onto other people. I've had to learn that again and again with team building and with hostess coaching and with selling this product. So Megan taught me that, and it's probably the most important thing that she ever taught me. Don't make your objections other people's objections. Let them come up with their own things, and just have a conversation with them. So anyways, back to the price point. It's not expensive. It's really not expensive. It's like I go to Costco and I buy garbage bags that probably take us like a year or two to go through, but it's like 25% of the cost if you buy it at Costco. So we do that because it makes sense. So with Norwex, you're buying dryer balls. Sure, they're $30, but you never buy fabric softener and fabric sheets again. Just from a financial perspective, that's a win. That's a savings. You know, you buy a basic set or a household package and you never buy cleaning products again. I mean, literally, the paper towels that you save. So you just need to help people think these things through. It made sense to us, but it might not make sense to everybody. So you have to point those things out. I remember one customer, she's a massive duster. Arizona's a super dusty place because it's the desert, but she dusts like literally every day, and she would use Pledge. And for some reason, she thought the dust mitt $16 was a lot of money. But then she went to Costco to buy one of those 3 packages of Pledge and realized that it was more money than the dust mitt, and she could never have to buy those again. So she got a dust mitt and realized it works 1,000 times better than the Pledge. And so she's like, she talks about this dust mitt like it's one of her children. It's so funny. I love it. You know, post stuff on Facebook and whatever. It's like free marketing for us. It's fantastic. But make sure people realize what they have. They are not buying a Pinto, okay? It's a Ferrari. It's like the Ferrari of cleaning products. So yeah, you want to invest in it. This is an investment. You want to take care of it. You want to care well for it. But, you know, yeah, enough on that point, because I don't really need to beat a dead horse on it. But, you know, if you need more information on that, talk to me. So price is different than cost. That's the last thing I was going to say. Our price point is the money that you spend. The cost factors in your health, and it factors in your time, and it factors in what you won't be suffering from later on in life. You know, if you buy Norwex, will you never get any chronic illness? I can't promise that. You know, nobody knows. If you buy Norwex and eliminate the chemicals from your home, it usually starts a journey, if you haven't already been on there, of, you know, clean eating and clean living, and it opens your eyes to a whole nother world of preserving our planet for future generations and all of that. Is that going to make a difference in your health? Most likely. You know, most likely. All research points to yes. So pay me now or pay me later. And I choose now. We advocate choosing now, saving your health, improving your quality of life, spend more time living and less time cleaning. So we are so grateful for each and every one of you on this team spreading the mission of Norwex, and I hope that for each and every single one of you it can be as much and more than it's been for me. We love each and every one of you.